Imagination adventurers, the remake of the Final Fantasy VII universe and beyond is a masterpiece, downloaded and expressed by geniuses in a genius mastermind. It's the magnum opus of many creative polymaths' love, their dream, their great symphony, like Beethoven's Ninth. As with the greatest musical composition ever realized, which has several movements, so with the remake, a trilogy, a heptalogy, and so with the Rebirth trailer. We might compartmentalize each movement considering it in meta-isolation, but each aspect is part of a glorious creation, each adding notes and beauty to the others. Nothing in life and love happens in isolation. Feeling affects everything, and choices matter. First Soldier. I was told by someone who actively participates in this experience that there are whispers in First Soldier. Interesting that the whispers have been removed from existence across timelines, tragically. And yet in a combat simulator, they still exist, just like Weiss exists in a combat simulator, as does Sepheroth and Chadley, and each independent to the program. And these whispers evidence themselves at a time when Sepheroth was infected and born into the world. In the latest release of First Soldier, a player can now free roaming in an environment, a fundamental building block to a potential journey of discovery. Imagination adventurers, it is possible in the time to come that we will witness the emotional effulgence of story being expressed through First Soldier. How that will manifest in this symphony will be part of the unknown journey. Ever Crisis. Thrice are the heroes starring in this trailer: Cloud, Zack, and Sephiroth. A reunion. Thrice are the expressed arrows of time in this firmament of memory, a portal of parallax in which hero, human, and those beyond the veil meet. Each installment in the series releases simultaneously, akin to the memory stored in the timeless, spaceless identity of you, and me, and all imagination adventurers, and all beings. And each installment can be lived by a hero and player in any combination, no linear arrow of time, perhaps starting with Dirge of Cerberus, just as we can live our memories in any order and combination. And yet, despite what will be experienced viscerally before us, we Blackfeather Deus Ex Machina on Earth believe these installments occur not simultaneously, nor in any combination of our fancy, but in a strict, predetermined order, like whispery memories, like the memories experienced in this trailer, like the trailers experienced in this symphony. And is there a remade Ghost in the Shell? Seemingly innocent tiny alterations and remakes spiraled gloriously beyond control and what could be foreseen. Why is there a third soldier at Nibelheim, when every other scene witnessed until now has been an accurate echo of times gone by? The finale of Ever Crisis ends with one of the same questions asked in the finale of Remake. Who and what is Sephiroth now? What is real? What is fiction? As a familiar fiery memory changes to a younger Sephiroth rife with potential and possibility, and for a time, an unknown future, just as he helped induce in Remake. When is Ever Crisis? What is time but memory? Ever Crisis seems to occur both before and after the events at Destiny's Crossroads. It's a memory of what was before Remake that helplessly occurs after everything is remade, perhaps explaining the Ghost in the Shell. How Ever Crisis fits into the Remake Symphony will likely depend on who's doing the remembering. Crisis Core Reunion. Parallax. Changing one's viewpoint literally changes what one views. As with Remake and this symphony, so with Reunion. Visual by visual, Reunion appears to be a remaster, yet it follows the naming structure of Remake and helplessly occurs after it, alluding that it is not a remaster, just as with Zack's scenes in Remake, which ended up being remade. And many of its scenes mirror those in the Ever Crisis trailer, line for line, save that Reunion tells the scenes with massively more dimensionality, trailers in isolation, or a symphony. A choice made in a symphony affects the symphony. Choices matter, just as with the remake. Reunion, the prodigal idea some versions of Sephiroth seek above all else. Reunion, when Sephiroth was flung by a supernaturally powerful cloud into the interdimensional lifestream. A unique moment when the three heroes are together. Sephiroth, the Kwisatz Haderach who in at least one form exists outside time and space, and the scope of the whispers he helped annihilate. What is Sephiroth's endgame? If it's all one universe now, and the whispers are annihilated except in our memories, and a combat simulator, how will those choices leading to changes in Crisis Core Reunion, in turn, affect Rebirth and beyond? Except if time flows with Remake, Reunion, and Rebirth as it does in Ever Crisis, linear and simultaneous. What is a universe but a symphony of beautiful dimensional information sharing, where choices and feelings are free and do not need wormholes? If it's all one universe now, who is Zack Fair, this beloved hero who will be part of the reason Sepheroth, or Genova, or Genesis, or some even greater, more evil bad guy will not win in the end? Who in one sad memory gives his sword to his living legacy? The feeling is the destiny. The feeling has changed in Crisis Core. Not one flight path ending at Midgar, but many into an unknown future. More so than in Ever Crisis, there are open possibilities. Will our beloved Zack live or die, or something unforeseen? The past is done, and though the future has been written, can it be changed? By choices. Possibly choices made in Remake will matter in Reunion, and possibly those in Reunion will matter in Remake. At the very least, changing the feeling as we fall in love with Zack once more, but also as a collective of choices rippling forward, creating unknown futures and pasts and memories in one symphony. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The fourth movement, Presto. Though part of a greater whole, this is where we in the audience listen so intently, often drawing our entire remembered experience of the work of genius from this one act. Many genius artists are aware of this. The curtains of reality pull back, and in one arrow of time we are taken to not long after the climatic finale of Remake. Just as with Remake's opening, we see the green light of multiversal transcendental information sharing energy, Mako. However, in this opening we have not one black bird flying on one path leading inevitably to and through Midgar, but many white seagulls flying around it. On many paths, though the wall hems in much of where they can fly, they bear tremendous unknown potentiality. One white feather falls from metacognition, meta meaning outside, and awareness beyond the four dimensions. Deus ex machina, a white-feathered Deus ex machina. How beautiful. Just as with the seagulls, Zack is circumnavigating around the edge of Midgar, as if he could not simply walk in through the closest gate with his beleaguered friend. The stage shifts in this moment, for a third instance, to Nibelheim. Before the incident, in a third arrow of time, we see not 3 soldiers, but instead 2 soldiers, first class. And soon, a symbol of the story's soul greets us once more. Birds, black and white ones, on flight paths of truly infinite unknown possibilities radiating out from Nibelheim. White and black, a sublime description of the Deus ex machina tragically walking towards his mother, and black-feathered Deus ex machina of a different dimension. Us must wonder at this instance of flashback, how could the cloud we fell in love with in Remake tell it as we remember it? Our beloved heroes of Remake know far too much about Sephiroth and his machinations for the Nibelheim incident to feel the same, to be remembered the same. They've fought and beat Sephiroth. They've learned Aerith knows much about Sephiroth, and they learned Sephiroth knew about the Whispers. Could the flashback then be being told by the younger, less traumatized other Cloud, whose voice might manifest as the second different Cloud that we hear? What does this unknowing Cloud's remembered Nibelheim reunion look like? Could it be that they both tell the story of the Nibelheim incident? They both remember it. Perhaps in Crisis Core Reunion, we will begin to see. What is fact and what is fiction? Which Cloud is remembering which Sephiroth and which incident? How did the events at Destiny's Crossroads affect this memory? Why is there a third soldier in the Ever Crisis trailer for this Nibelheim incident, which has some of the exactly identical prodigal scenes as Reunion, which is a near-perfect remaster of Crisis Core, as were the final moments with Zack and Remake, until they weren't, which leads to Rebirth, whose trailer focuses on Zack, Cloud, Sephiroth, and the Nibelheim incident. A symphony. Choices matter, the dimensionality of which is even greater in the Rebirth trailer than in any previous moment in this symphony. Parallax. The feeling changes as the observer changes. Irrelevant, the observed. Change the feeling, change destiny, just like in the Remake. Why in the Rebirth trailer, in which our beloved heroes of Remake live, did our heroes at no point make an appearance? Only Zack and Sephiroth, and a less traumatized Cloud, and a far younger, unknown Cloud. Rebirth finishes with the white-feathered Deus Ex Machina, and a panorama of a fallen Sector 6 that appears as the mists part and the warmth of the sun shines through, just as it did in the Nibelheim flashback moments ago. The fallen sector, Wall Market, one entrance into Midgar where 2 soldiers might enter unnoticed. A fallen Sector 6. The Rebirth trailer ends with a hint of one universe, not 5. One story, not 5. One symphony, not 5. time. I wasn't even going to do a Ramble video like this. However, so much information has come out in the weeks following the 25th anniversary celebration that a Ramble like this is rather necessitated, especially since most of my intuition about Reunion was completely wrong. Standing here today, almost a month after that celebration, I have 7 open questions about Rebirth and the whole Symphony. I hope to explore those questions here. Number 1, how interrelated is Reunion with Rebirth and Remake? That is to say, if Reunion is an HD remaster, if there are no changes to the story in Reunion, both of those are statements that the genius devs behind Remake have said, then this truly begs the question of how interrelated the remade world is. Are they disparate but like elements? Or is this truly a symphony? I believe this is truly one symphony. But how? How can there be no whispers in Reunion if it's an accurate depiction of the past? Before the events at Destiny's Crossroads, there were whispers, which is the past. It is the past in one arrow of time. If there are no whispers in Reunion outside a virtual space like First Soldier, a combat simulator, then Reunion has to occur after Remake. But then how can it be the past? The short but very difficult answer is whose past? This seeming contradiction gives we imagination adventurers 2 distinct possibilities. 1, Reunion is a concurrent arrow of time or memory, but generally independent to Rebirth and Remake. However, for this to be true, other than to let we in the cosmic audience fall in love with Zack one more time, which is important, having generally independent timelines after Remake does not feel right. It's certainly possible, but it makes one wonder why the Rebirth timeline would be so presumably different from the original timeline, but the Reunion timeline remained nearly identical to the Crisis Core timeline. This becomes all the more confusing, since one of the striking elements of Remake was that given nearly identical circumstances, tiny changes still occur. Heroes are heroes. They're going to do what they do, not what was done. All of Chapter 4 was not brought about by Sepheroth. It was not brought about by the Whispers. It was brought about by Jesse Raspberry. And these seemingly innocent and sometimes tiny changes lead to massive aberrations down the road. Choices matter, even small ones, early on in a line of dominoes. But if there is no choice in Reunion, then as Aerith said in the 25th anniversary celebration, the past is done. We cannot do anything about it. So if there are no differences and there is no choice in Reunion, then it is truly the past. But whose past in whose memory? It is the past that occurs after Remake, before Rebirth. The Midgar are heroes, and a beleaguered Zack and Cloud witness in the distance on that inimitable sandy bluff at the end of Remake. That Midgar has memories. That Midgar has a past. Part of that past, a very sad part, is how Zack gave his living legacy Cloud the Buster Sword. Until 3 weeks before Cloud presumably leaps from the first bombing mission's train. Reunion is that past, that heartbreaking memory. Open question number 2. Could there still be ghosts in the shell? Yes, is the one-word answer. There will likely be cosmetic differences, and there will likely be minor added content, and no one would feel misled at calling it an HD remaster if there's just a few extra lines. However, could these differences be related to what happens before Reunion, which is the original anthology, Remake, and First Soldier, relative to the arrow of time of we imagination adventurers? It is certainly possible. However, as I believe this is meant to be, and the devs have said this is supposed to be an HD remaster, then these ghosts in the shell would be no greater than the third soldier in the Ever Crisis trailer. This leads into open question number 3. Can Reunion change Remake if there are these concurrent timelines, as I said in my video? Initially, I believed yes. However, so much information has come out since the 25th anniversary celebration that I have changed my theory. I still believe Ever Crisis is memory. It's all happening concurrently as well as in a deterministic order. Other than that though, everything has a stricter place in a stricter arrow of time. So, can Reunion change Remake deterministically, as in a causal conga line of dominoes? This shouldn't be possible. One happened before Singularity, the other happened after. Open question number 4. Can choices in Reunion affect Rebirth? Overall, yes. This is a memory. This is the recording leading up to where we pick up in Rebirth. Choices will matter, but likely mostly in feeling. Change the feeling, change destiny. Everyone in the Roaring 20s, the 2020s, will love Zack and know who that brave chap is at the end of Remake. This is momentous change in of itself, and there is plenty of opportunity for minor continuity changes, such as Zack fair setting a high score in a dark game, and then in Rebirth, at that same dark game, but with Cloud, there on this high scoreboard is Zack Fair's name with your score. Open question number 5. Why name an HD remaster Reunion when Rebirth and Remake have such deep, cryptic, and multi-level meanings? Despite being an HD remaster, Reunion has many cryptic and deep meanings. It's a reunion. Zack, Cloud, and Sepheroth are back together for the first time in a new era of time, a new memory. This idea was the theme of the whole 25th anniversary celebration. Sepheroth, Cloud, and Zack. In fact, the icon for the 25th anniversary celebration is Sepheroth, Cloud, and Zack. It's a reunion. Sepheroth is reunited with the virus named Genova. It's a reunion. Genova and Sepheroth will be reunited for the first time in this era of time, for the first time since Singularity, with a sentient interdimensional hyperplane called the Lifestream. Crisis Core. Open question number 6. Why go through the trouble of a HD remaster of this caliber? The voice acting is being redone, the graphics are being overhauled, the combat system is being massively modernized, so why not have a little bit of fun and throw in some Ghosts in the Shell? 1. There might be some Ghosts in the Shell, we'll have to see. 2nd, forget the word remaster, forget the word remake. Why would this memory be nearly identical to the Crisis Core memory relative to we imagination adventurers? To us, it's so that we know when differences arise in Rebirth. Differences, for instance, differences in certain flashbacks that were extremely common in the whole symphony of the 25th anniversary celebration, Reunion. Open question number 7, the big one. Why would Reunion Zack die, but Remake Zack live, if the whispers are removed from time and space in both cases? Part of this answer is following Alice down a very deep hole to Wonderland, quantum physics, time-space, but the other part has to do with what I have always felt was one of the key and most heartwarming, touching themes of Remake. That choices do matter, and that was one of the confounding problems for the Whispers. Tiny changes can result in massive aberrations. If you watch the Crisis Core scene and the Remake scene side by side, and I go into detail on this in my Wedge Zack Lovers Through Time video, those two initial scenes are nearly identical, and nearly identical on purpose. However, the Crisis Core scene has noticeably more soldiers. This small change plays out to a massive difference. The next scene we have with both Zacks. In Remake, it's still sunny in the sky. In Crisis Core, the sky is a blanket of clouds. It's misty. It's about to rain. So that tells you that the Zack that fought those fewer soldiers much faster. And the massive difference that results from that is one Zack is significantly less wounded than the other. Remake Zack was less wounded before the Whispers were annihilated. However, and it breaks my heart to say this, the Alice in Wonderland memory of Midgar almost certainly has the Crisis Core number of soldiers in Zack's last stand. Whether or not there are Whispers, Zack dies. There is some small part of me that is still holding up a candle flame of hope that maybe the devs aren't being completely honest with us and our beloved Zack lives. An extra ending, a bonus scene, we will see. And this leaves me with one bonus open question, one that I will not answer, and I leave it for you. If the stamp bag makes an appearance in Reunion, which dog will be on that stamp bag? What will that stamp bag look like? Until next time, Imagination Adventurers, keep on dreaming.